Anyway, welcome back, people. We can take it from here. Go ahead. It's your panel, Jeannie.
Wait a minute. You didn't hit the live button yet. Don't hit it yet. Just a minute. Just a minute.
We're all the way live.
No.
Always.
We're all the way live.
Always.
We're always live.
No.
Keep it together. Keep it together.
Back. Oh, man. This was supposed to be your time, Dorsal. So, actually, there's a reason I came on here today. So, well, I wasn't ready. I thought I was going to have like 30 more minutes just to prepare. But the reason I'm on here today is as your client. I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciated you as my personal trainer. And being that it's the holidays, and Mac talked about an opportunity to give roses, I came on to give you your rose and to tell you what, and let the listening audience know what an outstanding personal mental trainer you are. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
So can I see your faces, because I can't see anybody right now.
All of our faces.
There's the man of the hour. And being that you gave him roses, I would like to give you a rose too. You can't see it, but believe me, I got a rose for you. I just want to say, man, I commend you. Oh, let me hold on for 1 second. I just want to say that I commend you for being such a hardworking man on your character. I know how hard it is for you to navigate throughout your daily life and keep your composure, but for some reason, you do it effortlessly. It's like it's so easy to you. And I guess that's what Jeannie felt. She feels the same thing, but you and her have a relationship where you're her personal trainer. And she contacted me and thought it would be a great idea to tell you just how much she appreciates you. And, I thought it would be a great opportunity for us both to do that. And you don't really have to say anything. I mean, it's the cat's out the bag. We try to surprise you, but
yeah, we did. We tried to.
We'll get it right. We'll get it right one day.
But Mac,
yes.
I would like the opportunity, if you wouldn't mind. And I know that there's something that you guys need to discuss, so you can just let me know.
This panel is going to be this panel, what it is right now. Yes.
So you can just let me know when my time's up. But I thought it was important that that the listening audience understand the impact that he's had on my life, because, and as you know, I can get a little emotional, how he's changed my life. And it was actually to the point where he actually saved my life. And I think it's important that people know that. So I want to, if you would allow me, just to share with you where I was at before I met Dorsal. And I know him as Q as well, so I can kind of go back and forth. But before I met Dorsal, I had just recently lost my father, and I had lost thousands and $100,000 or more in a really poor investment. And I was in conflict in a relationship with a friend that was very toxic, and I needed to cut ties with that. So in doing that, going through that, I became very ill. I became very sick, and the stress. And so I was told to go to the Mayo Clinic. So I went from specialist after specialist to try to find out what was wrong. And they could see I was really sick, and they couldn't find the root of the illness. And so they said that they tested everything, including cancer, and they couldn't find the root. So meanwhile, I was I was really exhausted. I could hardly get out of bed. And so one day I had gotten up, took a shower, and I could hardly stay awake. And I fell back to sleep, and I had no idea how long I had been sleeping until my husband came home, and he was shocked that I had been sleeping all day, and said, I need to take you out for dinner. So let's go out. And he spoke to me like he's never spoke to me before. And he looked me straight in the eye, and he said, you're dying, and I'm watching you die before my eyes. And he said, they can't find anything wrong with you, even though you're really ill. And he said, you have to make a decision now if you want to live, and you have to decide if you want to live or you want to die. And if you decide to live, you're going to have to dig deep down inside and find something to fight for. You got to fight for your life, because no one's going to do it. I can't do it for you. And so several days later, I just by coincidence, I met a woman who was a doctor who specializes in hormone therapy replacement. And I've been doing that for years. But I asked her, could you just please read my lab results? And she said, sure. So she read them, and within hours she called me back and said, your blood is so thick that you're on the verge of having a stroke. So you need to get blood immediately, and you need to get to a specialist immediately to get your hormones balanced out. So we did that. And in the meantime, the night I met Q was the night, it was a cold winter night. And again, I was really sick, and I was trying to get better, obviously. And as I walked into the venue, I went to hear my favorite band, and I walked into a venue I've never been before. And I gravitated to a woman because I wanted her to explain to me the venue, because I'd never been there before, and explain how it all worked. And I could feel this positive energy coming from somewhere. And I turned to my right, and there was Q. And I just gravitated to him, and I found that he worked there. He had something in his ear showing that he was security. So I just approached him, and I asked him if he could show me around, and my husband, he said, sure. And because there was hardly anybody there, it was raining that night, it gave us the opportunity to talk. And I, for some reason, just said, hey, I could see that he worked out. And I asked him, and he said, yeah. And I don't know where this came from, but I just said, would you train me? And he said, well, I'll think about it. And so my husband and him exchanged phone numbers. And then later, a couple of days later, I asked my husband, would you please call him and see if he would train me? And he goes, I'm not calling him. You call him. If you want him to train you, you call him. So I said, okay. So I reached out to him, and he said, well, consider it, Well, finally, long story short, he did. And so he started training me. But there's something I want to share too. There was 2 episodes that happened that was really life-changing for me working with him. And my husband told him, she's not easy to train. I have broken every trainer that I've had, including my husband. He won't train me. And so one time, when we first started training, my mental and physical capabilities were not lined up. I wasn't very strong. I felt maybe I was stronger physically than I was mentally, but that's up for Q to tell you that. I don't know. But anyway, as he was training me, I was doing some reps, and I found mentally I couldn't do it anymore. And I sat down on a weight bench, and I just started to cry. I just started to weep, because I couldn't press through it. And he didn't judge me. He just sat there and just watched, and it was very kind, and just stepped away until I got it together. And then I later got it together, and then I said, okay, I'm ready. And he said, okay, you gotta do your reps. You gotta do 10 more reps. So I did. And then several months later, he'd been pushing me, and I felt stronger, and I could feel that strength coming back. And in the meantime, I went to see a doctor that was specializing again in the hormone replacement. And so we started to get my hormones balanced out. In the meantime, she said to me, Jeannie, something happened to trigger your hormones, because your hormones were completely depleted, and all of the hormones that the feel-good hormones are gone. She said, what happened? So I sat down to tell her, everything. And she said, based on your lab results and everything you told me, she said, I can't believe you're alive to tell the story. And she said, I will tell you, you're probably one of the strongest women I've ever met. But it was through that inner strength that allowed me to just fight back, and Q was the right person. And so several months later, what I'm about to share with you is that he started pushing me, and I got to the point where he said, you got to do, you're going to do 10 more reps. And something in me, I thought, if he asked me to do 1 more rep, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to come unglued, and I'm going to rip him apart. I'm going to come unleashed like he's never seen before. And he said, okay, 10 more reps. And I lost it. I called him every cuss word under the book. I think I made up cuss words. And I don't know how long I went off. I don't know if I went off 5 or 10 minutes. And there was the people in the gym saw this and heard this. And I kept going. And he stood there, And I've never, to this day, I've never seen anybody do this.
Mhm.
And he had his arms folded because he was the coach, and he just sat there with no emotion, didn't say anything, and finally he said, "Are you done?"
Right.
And I go, "Well, I don't know." And he goes, "Okay, you can do 10 more reps." And I lost it again. I said, "Don't you tell me what to do." And I started yelling at him all over again. And there was something in me. I was so angry, but I found I wasn't angry with him. I was angry with myself. And so I lost it again.
Right.
And then he said, "Okay." He said, when you're done with your adult tantrum, you can do 10 more. Now you're up to 20 and you keep doing this. He said, "I'm going to keep giving you 10 more. So it's up to you. You decide. It's your choice. If you want to keep acting like this and acting like a spoiled child." And I said, "Okay, I think I'm done." And I just want to tell you is that he's the type of trainer that I have needed. And I have pushed him, and I have stretched him, and I've tried to break him every possible way I possibly could, and he has stood his ground. And I have been so impressed, and it's just truly an honor to know him. And we haven't been training because of the pandemic and stuff on a consistent level basis, but because of the training, and through the pandemic, I was able to um, pick up surfing. So I took up surfing. So I started surfing and skiing again, and doing. I mean, he taught me to not only be physical but mentally strong. And so mental strength can affect all areas of your life. And because of that, I've been able to get my business up and going again. And um, so I haven't been the easiest client, and I have probably been horrible and tortured him many times verbally. But I just am here to say thank you, because he is good at what he does, and the listening audience needs to know who's on your panel and who's on your platform speaking to them, because he is truly one of the most outstanding trainers I've ever had and known in my life. So there we go. So Merry Christmas and thank you, Q.
I'm speechless. uh, I'm speechless because you are a tough client, but because of my background, I accept all. And the most important thing to me, for anyone that's listening, when they take on the role of being a personal trainer, or a life coach for that matter, you cannot and you should never put people that are individuals in the same category. Personal training means you have to be willing to accept what comes with that person, but you also have to be a little personal with them in order to give them what they're looking for as far as the training purpose goes. Some may have had injuries, some may have had um, back injuries, or just dealing with stuff mentally. In the process of training them, you have to learn how to help them find themselves. So being a personal trainer does not mean walking around with a tablet and a pen and saying, okay, well, you have 5 more minutes. As soon as I get done with your 5 minutes, I'm going to go over and get ready for this person. I would never let someone train me like that. You you have to be prepared to be pushed to the point that your body feels like it's going to fail. That's where your mental part kicks in at that point. So there is a balance. Um, Knowing that you saved someone's life, I don't think the people understand how huge that really is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to know that is very humbling, and it's a reminder. You're the second individual that have told me I saved their life. Um, so it means I'm doing something right and something different than most trainers are doing. But my overall goal as being a trainer, as being a mental and physical trainer, is allowing someone to reach their physical and mental and make it balance, so they can understand who they are as a person and realize how strong they really are. You can be physically strong as you want to, but if your body have never reached something that will test it, it's going to fail because you mentally will not be there. So it's a yin and yang. You have to have someone that understands the balance of both and give you the balance of both in the process of training you. I'll never know everything, but I will guarantee the individuals that taught me along my journey helped me to discover who I am. So I always tell people when they say, I wish I was rich, I always say, you are rich. As long as your soul and your energy is rich and pure, you're always going to be rich. But you have to maintain that balance. And if you want to give something forward to someone, you give them that. You help them, remind them of their richness. See, it's easy for us to walk around as humans and point fingers and judge each other because that's the easiest thing to do. The hardest thing to do is step back and heal somebody. That's what everyone cannot do. And I think it's because people are so selfish, or either they fear of knowing who they really are as a person. So they tend to get lost. The frustration comes in because they're trying to find each other. So I'm going to continue to reshape people physically and mentally. And once they find out who they are, the message will spread the same way as you come on here, me not knowing, but you spread something that's very huge for people that don't even know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So what you just did was you spreaded seeds on how I changed your life.
Mm-hmm.
And your husband, the time we took a video class, he was still explaining to me how much of an impact I had on you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he was reminding me how hard of an individual you were, how your shell was so hard that you pushed. When people push you, you push back. But when you pushed me, I stood still. But that's because I know who I am as a person. I stand firm on myself, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I can't thank you enough, for coming on here and sharing your experience and your journey with me as your trainer and as your coach. And it's just, like I said, it's a reminder to me that I'm doing everything that I was gifted to do, because it's not me to take credit for everything. It's a gift that was given to me to help people regardless of their circumstances and their situation. So all I can do is say I'm humbled and say thank you. But again, it was a gift that was given to me. And that's why it's so easy for me to move and navigate without any effort, is because I was given something to help people. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. So I want to say thank you.
Well, just based on everything you said, you're in your gifting, and that's your strength. And when you're in your gifting, it's easy. And so what you do is can be very difficult for other people, but you do it with such grace and you make it look so easy. But you're not just your typical trainer, like you said. You're the mental trainer, and you push people to become mentally strong, which is something very different than just physically training. And to train someone like myself who I, as you know, I'm an alpha female. So, boy, I'll tell you, I'm the one that leads the show. But when I train with you, you lead the show. And I think we had to establish those boundaries because I wanted to lead. And what I think it's so fun about a relationship is that it's not a race thing, and it's not a gender thing. It doesn't matter if you're white or I'm white and you're black, or you're male and I'm female. It ultimately comes down to learning to respect one another for who we are and honoring that. And I have not been the most respectful person because, in whatever reason, I don't know if you call it white privilege or whatever you want to call it, just spoiled, whatever you want it. You had to teach me that that's not how you get through life. and I've been able to get what I want in life. But you can only go so far with that, which is not the correct way to go about it. And by learning to honor people for who they are as a person, it's something that you taught me, and you've humbled me many, many times, and you broke me many, many times, and it was really painful. In fact, I've had to go and pout and have adult tantrums quite a few times, as you know. But again, that's what happens when you push somebody to go to the next level. And I'm not just your average person that's just going to sit back and just let life happen. No, I'm gonna make life happen and help other people. And as you know, my gift and strength is more working with women and helping them feel beautiful. And because there's a lot of women that aren't confident, they're not secure in who they are. And then, but my cup has to be full, and I have to be strong and confident in who I am in order to give to other people. And that's what you showed me, and you do an amazing job, and you do an amazing job. And in fact, Mac, something that you don't know is when we train, we have two gyms that we can pick from, but when we train, people will move closer to us as we're training to watch how we interact and how he trains me. In fact, Q, I never even told you this, but because of the pandemic and our gyms have been closed off and on and stuff like that, I'll have people ask me all the time, "Where's Q? Is he training you? Where's Q? What's he doing?" Because you're leading by example, and people see how you train, and you're not just the average trainer. And but also, Mac, it's really important that I want to share this too. This is very important because we've dealt with racism as well, and I live in a community where it's a Canadian builder, so we have a lot of white families that live here, or retired families, and this is not easy for me to share this with you. But when we'll go to train, because I live in a secured building, obviously it's gated, and there's fobs you got to use to get in every building and stuff, so it's a highly secure place. And so I've had to meet Q at the door to bring him in to the gym where we're training. And so when we have passed people, Q, when you were talked about earlier, you and I have talked about the importance of being kind. That's something that Dorcel's always done, has been kind, no matter what. And so we've had people walk towards us that are white, men and women, that Q would always be the first one to say hello and say hi. And there were times that they wouldn't look at him, they wouldn't acknowledge him, and they wouldn't say hi. And I got to the point where I became so angry with him. I said, "Stop being nice to these people and stop saying hi first." And he goes, "No, that's not what you do." Right. He said, you teach people. And you've talked about that, Q, and you set the example. And he's always been, and I became so angry that I said, "Stop it." And he said, "No." He said, "You always need to be kind," and he would always be the first person to reach out and say hi first.
And Jeannie, let me tell you, I am so sorry for cutting you off, because you just, him in a nutshell. I mean, he's just an awesome guy. This is his panel, like I said, your panel, but we're giving him the roses. And Q, I just want to say, man, if I had a haircut, I would take my hat off, but I'll just give you a salute. Salute. I appreciate you, man, for being a good friend of mine and being a co-host and a partner with this movement that we got going on. And I just want to say to all the people who are watching, please tune in each and every Monday on this panel called Conversations. And today we had Jeannie on, and we will be in contact with you again for a follow-up on the rest of that story, Jeannie, which takes us into a whole new realm of understanding and conversation. So it's your boy Mag, live on location with your E2WMag.com. Check us out on all platforms. Peace, and we're out.
Peace.
Mac.